calm myself down to the extent that I am absolutely joyful within. Involved in little things, ये टिकट आया कि नहीं आया, वो फ्लाइट का टाइम हो गया है, या वो
Yes.
ये हो गया, ब्रेकफास्ट जल्दी मतलब ये तो चलता रहेगा. So I really
Yes.
have to raise the level of my consciousness and find that joy, be joyful. Able to express, then you don't keep your stories within you, you don't keep the pain
True.
within you. So it is an easier way to live. UPSC exam or any other competition, there is obviously an element of uncertainty involved. There is no guarantee that you will make it. You may be the best in the world, but still you may not make it. Wait for retirement. Don't wait for being 40 years old or something.
Yes.
Start even at the age of 15. You should start the meditation path, and it is not only physical exercises. And
True.
it is basically Kriya Yoga is the path which we follow for union with God. Monks in YSS says ये स्कूल है और स्कूल से पास होके ही निकलना होता है, फेल होके नहीं निकलना. स्कूल में बार बार आना पड़ेगा आपको जब तक आप पास होते हैं.
Love, and you will never have to work in your life. So today I welcome all of you in this brand new podcast with Vivek Atray sir. Welcome to this Anandyatra platform.
Thank you.
How are you, sir?
I am fine. Thank you for inviting me. अच्छा लगा मुझे.
Great to have you. And we are honored to have you on this platform because these days I'm also seeing your podcast. You are also a host of podcast, The Good Vibe Show. So thanks a lot for taking your vibes on this Anandyatra podcast and enhancing the vibes of Ananda of this podcast. So once again, I will say thank you for coming and taking out the time that from your busy schedule. So this podcast is mainly about, as I already told you, the theme that insight from an IAS officer who turned from an IAS into an motivational TEDx speaker, mentor, and an author. So I will not say much about it. I want sir to take all of us to his journey. And before taking to this journey, let me tell you, this is an Anandyatra podcasting channel, which is a journey to bliss. We all seek the bliss in our life. The ways can be different, but the goal of all our life is same. So when I just a simple observation when I was searching about sir, so I thought after searching that I was reading about a person who has lived like 4 or 5 life in a single life only. Like he's a cricketer, he's an IAS officer, also, he's a motivational speaker, also, he's an author, also, and he's also creating a community. So, sir, what was the point like that make you thought to take such a decision and come to this long journey of bliss and joy?
Thank you very much for the question. I think I always want to do something that gives me joy, as you said. And at different stages of life, you evolve. So you're not the same person as you were earlier. There was a time when only cricket was everything for me. And I used to be a cricketer at under 19. I started playing in class 6 or 7 and kept on till about college. But I think I was talented, but not as talented perhaps as I should have been to play further. But I played Seek and I Do tournament twice, which is All India Interstate, which is the top level at that age. Yet when I got the engineering admission, then there was a choice to go for engineering or cricket, and my father rightly said that either you are playing for India now or you are to go for engineering. So then I said, yes, you're right. So then obviously I felt bad about it, very sad and shattered. But then I picked up again and life happened. After engineering, then I was preparing for civil services, and my father passed away. And when he passed away, then I was only 24. So then I started, then I got a job in his place in the Haryana Civil Service. And since I was qualified, I was an engineer, I was anyway preparing for civil services. Although that setback of my father was very big. But in service, I did not look back. I did my best and I became a good officer, I think. And I was SDM, I was Director IT later, I was Director Industries later when I joined the IAS. I was Deputy Commissioner, etc. So that journey started. Then later, I became a speaker on stage while in service. I had some TEDx talks while I was still in service. And then I realized I want to do more of these talks. And the government doesn't allow, obviously, chutti for so long. So
Yes.
I could only speak once in 3 months, once in 2 months. I wanted to speak every week. and I wanted to reach out to the youth, but I'll talk more about that later. So basically, it became a motivational journey after that. I also became a spiritually minded person. I follow Paramahansa
Amazing.
Yogananda, author of the autobiography
Great.
of a yogi. So that's how it happened.
And that is from where we met. There, I saw you like a simple person who is meditating simply with closed eyes, sitting blissfully. So, and second thing that you said, you are an engineer. I was also an engineer. As you took a shift from engineering background, also that book changed my life too. And I also was a civil engineer, then wrote that book. Also did I also have an UPSC journey, gave an interview, but somehow not able to get qualified. But I have other things as that's time to do. As in some one of your talk, I see there are like divine plans which are already destined for you. And somewhere I thought, let's follow that plan. So now I'm sitting in front of you. So you mentioned of your career as a cricketer, like when you were in 19. So can you tell us some qualities as a cricketer when you were there? Now you draw those qualities in your motivational speeches that you give it to other people. Like what we can draw from that sportsman spirit.
Now, that's a very good question because I always talk about sports as leadership qualities come from there. And life is about becoming very balanced. And you take the rough with the smooth, ups and downs, they keep coming. In sports, you learn that. So any badminton player, tennis player, hockey, football, cricket player will know that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes you score a goal, sometimes you can't score a goal, and sometimes you score 100, sometimes you're out on zero, sometimes you get a wicket, sometimes you don't. Now the thing is that in life you face challenges also, and sometimes there are good days, sometimes there are bad days. Sportspersons learn that you have to retain your balance and calmness even if things are not going well. I think that lesson of cricket stays with me. Plus, I remained involved with cricket in other ways today also.
Yes.
So I started a tournament in my father's memory called the All India JP Atrey tournament in '92 when I was a youngster.
Amazing.
And my father passed away,
Yes.
so I started. My one uncle, Sushil Kapoor uncle, he helped me. And now it is 28 times we have done that tournament. The 29th edition will be held in September 24. So I think it's a involvement with the game continued, and I kept coming back to government and organizing this tournament, sometimes playing. Even today I play at times, play cricket matches and cricket, and also I play badminton, I go for fitness programs. So I think it's very important to keep sports with.
Or I can say also that now you are playing the bigger game of life daily, every moment. You are playing every ball that is given to you from your life. Second thing, sir,
Absolutely, we
you
all have to play
yes,
that game. We have to play.
yeah, definitely. Second thing that you said about is like when you were in your service, you get the desire to express yourself, like in a 3 months or in that way. So I want to ask you how important it is to express yourself because some people express it more. And like in your life, I see there is a deeper expression. So what is that origin of expression? Like how you are able to do that?
Again, a good question. I think it's very important to express. I think I became a writer first. So writing is a way to express. And I was in college. My wife to be was also in college with me. We met in college, and she was 2 years junior to me. And while we were friends, she told me that you should write more. You write well. So I wrote in my college magazine at least 4 times. And those articles were published. It was a good feeling to have your article. So I kept writing. Even before that, I used to write stories and all, even before in school time. So I became a writer. But then after my career started, I couldn't write. I was busy. I found reasons to be busy anyway. Because these are all excuses. You can easily do writing and something else, but busy. But then 10 years down the line, I think I became a writer again, and I started writing in the papers, in the newspapers, and they were published luckily. And my wife kept encouraging me, and I think I reached a stage where I was a very prolific writer. I kept writing regularly, and it's a good form of expression. And
Yes.
public speaking also started as chief guest. You have to give a speech in the service, you are called somewhere. So I became a good speaker also. So I think writing and speaking became my ways to express, and some people may be painters, some may be musicians. That is also expression. And sports also is expression. In a way, you're expressing your energy, your skill. So I think all these things like writing and speaking became my expressions and mode of expression. And when you are able to express, then you don't keep your stories within you. You don't keep the pain
True.
within you. So it is an easier way to live.
Amazing, sir, amazing. And you were telling me like how ma'am helped you in expressing yourself. I also felt like sometimes in our life we don't know how or what we are. Other people's let us know what we are capable of. जैसे
That's
आपने
right.
कहा कि कैसे मैम ने यस आपको एक तरह से लाइक दे आर लाइक द मिरर दे शो यू लाइक व्हाट यू आर
In fact,
दैट्स अ वंडरफुल थिंग ना
your life partner and your closest ones know you the best, and your closest friend, they are the ones we should listen to. And we normally, life, people tend to listen to their boss or their, the media or other people. They don't know you that well. The people who are closest to you, if they tell you something, we should take it seriously instead of taking it for granted. और ये हम अगर करते हैं, then we will be able to benefit.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. This suddenly came to my mind, this question right now, as you told, it's very important to have that companionship. So, anything on that, like I'm seeing so many people are struggling with their relationships, struggling with their like family life, like they are not easily. And I see that you talk a lot about emotional intelligence. So first, I want to know how these emotions, because I came from that yogic background. So in yoga, we have like chitta prasadnam, like bhavas, like maitri, karuna, mudita, upeksha, sukh, dukh, punya. So in the same way, you talk something about emotional intelligence. So can you guide us like how this can be used in that marriage and all and other aspects of a life also?
Yeah, I think you're right to bring in the spiritual element, but let us talk at the practical level for now, and then we move on later to spirituality also. I think relationships have to be based on understanding. So emotional intelligence helps us to understand our own emotions as well as the types of mindsets of others. So an emotional intelligence example of emotional intelligence is that I am scolding somebody because I'm a leader. I have to tell this person you were wrong. You should not have done it. And if I don't scold at times, then it's I need to put that person in the right place and tell that person that you should not have done it this way, you should have done it this way, or you were late, or whatever it was. Now, emotional intelligence indicates that I should not scold that person in front of his junior or somebody else. So my emotional intelligence will tell me that I should call him separately and tell him you should not have done. He doesn't mind. But if I scold him in front of 10 people or his juniors or somebody else who is present, some customer or some client or some other visitor has come, and I'm the head of the bank and I'm firing my junior in front of them, it doesn't work. So my emotional intelligence tells me to balance my emotions, to control my emotions, to speak as and when required in whatever manner and whatever in presence of whom. This is the emotional intelligence I talk of. So Daniel Goleman gives about 7 types of facets of emotional intelligence. He's the founder of the concept of emotional intelligence, including self-analysis, awareness of others, empathy, etc. But the thing is that anybody, जैसे हम बोलते हैं कि समझदार, sensible. So a sensible person will not unnecessarily say something or do something which is not required to be done. That is emotional intelligence. So समझदारी जो है वो emotional intelligence है एक तरह से, and I think it's a very practical thing. But definitely, if we go deeper within and we are spiritual, our emotional intelligence will improve along with many other things.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. And what I'm able to connect, this is same is what emotions of like lower emotions can be transformed. That yoga talks about bhakti yoga, how they can be transformed into higher emotions. So, yes, as you well said, like how these emotions can be used to save our relationships, or they not even benefit others also, and हमें भी मदद करते हैं और सामने वाले को भी मदद करते हैं. Yes, आजकल मैं देखता हूँ सर लोगों के egos, जैसे आपकी लाइफ में मैं देखता हूँ कि you are a good changer of your roles. You change your mask whenever, wherever it is required, whatever. But now these people are like too much rigid with their personality. So how to use your emotional intelligence that way, like to change the roles? We play a lot of roles in our life.
I think it's a great point that you're making. You see, when you life happens to you, and if we are stuck in something where we are not comfortable, we need emotional intelligence and we need understanding to change our position, our job, maybe our place of stay, maybe even our the spiritual reading that I have done, even a marriage which is not working, where you have tried your best. First you try your best, that should work. And today anyway the number of divorces or separations are too many. But when you are in a bad situation in a marriage and you have tried your best, both of you, to make it work, it doesn't work, then you have to change and move on, because Next 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, whatever it is, your life becomes hell. It's better to move on for both parties. However, at the drop of a hat, or just like that, somebody said something and divorce ho gaya, that is not the way to live. So understanding and patience has to be. If you look at careers, changing careers is necessary now today because, as I said, we are changing all the time. So when I was a youngster, I used to love cricket, and even now I love cricket, but I know I can't be a test cricketer now.
Yes.
I was a civil servant. That was my career. I was in it because the family needed stability after my father passed away. It was a challenging career. I was interested. I was there for 24 years, and it was good for me. Then came my motivational speaking, which is also a very challenging career, and I evolved into that. So how people can change their careers or their locations or even their friendships is by seeing the bigger picture. If I'm stuck in one mode of thinking, why is this person bad to me? Why is this job bad for me? Why is my situation like this? So I am in the well and I'm stuck. So I need to raise the level of my consciousness. Now this is something spiritual also. You raise the level of your perspective, your consciousness, your thinking, and then you see that in the bigger picture, certain things don't really matter. So if somebody is being harsh to me, I ignore that person. If the job is not comfortable, I ignore certain things and I get on okay. If everything is still difficult, I change my plan and I move ahead according to my capability. Sometimes I take a bit of risk also. In entrepreneurship, people take risk. If you resign from the IAS, you are taking a risk.
Absolutely.
That is how life is. So
absolutely.
You have to move on with emotional intelligence and take that risk.
Yes, but it's not easy somewhere to do that way, sir. Yes, it's somewhere we see not easy to do that way. Yeah. So now coming to one important aspect of your life, I think you spent around 25 years in the service as an IAS officer. So there, sir, I also some time ago was working for a UPSC. I also spent my 3 years in that. And I easily came out of that, like just giving only 3 years to that. Now I'm happy for that. Like I give only 3 years. That's a okay time for me. I am happy, like I did whatever I want to do. But still there are so many friends of mine who are in that battlefield till now. 7 years have passed, but they have not came out of that. So what emotional intelligence, or what as a motivational speaker, or what as a already you have seen the service? Because when I was working in private sector, I was engaged with some government projects. So I see how the governmental all works. And somewhere I came to know like how internally the things are. So can you enlighten us, like, is it worthwhile to invest that much amount of time in going for UPSC? Can you guide a little bit on that? Because it's a very important thing from your side, you address that.
Yeah, so I'm also the mentor of UPSC Academy, Vivek IAS Career Academy, and I have a lot of students coming to me for such advice, the one you have asked, and also detailed guidance. But I don't teach, I mentor. However, I guide them. And I also speak about this, as you know, on other podcasts. I've been on many times, spoken about this point.
Yes, yes.
Firstly, everyone has to have a plan B. So everybody has to have a plan B, even plan C, plan D, plan E, whatever you can have, you must have. This UPSC exam or any other competition, there is obviously an element of uncertainty involved. There is no guarantee that you will make it. You may be the best in the world, but still you may not make it because of various factors may come. So you have to keep that uncertainty factor in mind. Secondly, if you have some qualities in, let's say, physics, chemistry, you have got some good insight, that is your subject, or you have a backup plan in some kind of private sector job, you must use your knowledge, know-how to keep that option available. Thirdly, before going for the UPSC route, you should see whether you are meant for it. So you yourself have to do the analysis, even if you are 21-year-old or 18, 19-year-old. Do your analysis. Are you the type of person who will do well in the service? Firstly, preparing is another matter. Are you the kind of person who will do well in a government service or a civil service? Are you a people's person? Are you society oriented? Are you the kind of person who will be comfortable in a government job? Then, are you cut out for this preparation phase? It is hard work. It is requiring a lot of work. Let us say you appear, as you said, 3 times. Before that, you have prepared another 3 years. When you were in college, you started preparing from first year. First year, second year, third year, fourth year also at times. And 4 years you have been preparing. First attempt, People don't even appear at the first attempt after qualifying from
Hmm.
college.
Hmm.
They should
Hmm.
appear. In my view, you should appear there. And
Okay.
even if, okay, if you have only 1 month, you cannot, but if you are already prepared, you appear. I appeared for the UPSC exam, although later I came through the HCS, Haryana Civil Service. But that
Hmm.
too when my father passed away. But I appeared immediately, and luckily I cleared the prelims 3 times. But I didn't clear the mains. And in the
Hmm.
meantime, my father was not well, and it was like that. However, I think you get to know the first, second time where you stand. If
True.
you have given it a lot of hard work, and after 2 years, 2 attempts, you feel that you are very far away from the goal, take a practical call. 2 attempts are enough to find out, I feel. Serious
Okay.
attempts. Third attempt should come only if you have some nearness to the goal. That means you
Hmm.
almost cleared the prelims. Okay, you could not clear twice, but you almost cleared. You are reasonably prepared for the mains. If you did not clear the mains, you wrote the mains, almost cleared the mains, then you appear again. If you appeared for the interview, then obviously you can appear again, because then you have a big chance. So the third and fourth attempts should come if you have a chance in the first 2 attempts and you feel that you are confident. I don't think more than 4 attempts should be tried. If you have not succeeded, 3 attempts are good enough in my view. 4 are maximum. And also I tell people, don't take more than 1 year off from your career, your
Hmm.
studies. 1 year is maximum what you should do preparation whole time. Even if it is at the age of 21 after your graduation, 1 year. After that, start some MA, MSc, MTech, whatever it is. Start some teaching, start some job, and don't sit, because 1 year full-time preparation is a lot of time, and you have
Yeah.
prepared. And now, even if you are not ready, even if you have very little time to prepare, you have still done some work. You have some notes. Go for it with your job at the same time. After the end of
Hmm.
3 years, you will not feel bad because you have not spent only 3 years doing this,
True.
4 years, and 7 years is out of the question. You
Yeah.
are not Manoj Kumar Sharma in the 12th grade, and I am also
Ji.
not. Everybody
Hmm.
cannot be like that. So don't do it.
Correct.
Don't do it. This is my advice.
Yes. Wonderful, sir. Here I want to highlight one point. Like when I don't say directly to those people like that you do that way, but what they say, like, Ashish, I already invested my 3 4 years. If I don't do this, then what I should do? And second thing is that family background. Like they think if I go back and I will say to family like I'm not able to succeed, then what will I do? So why
After
this
three,
if
sorry to interrupt, after 3 years
yeah.
going back is still okay.
Hmm.
After 6 years going back, it's so disastrous. It's so sad.
Yeah.
And
True.
people, they will obviously feel very low. And how do you start from there?
Hmm.
You are human. You are
Yes.
human. And human beings, they will find a setback. So, okay, if you have appeared for 6 times now, by the time we are having this podcast, there are so many people who have already appeared 6 times, right? So,
Yes.
for them,
Definitely.
let me say, well done, tried your best. Now, think about your life ahead. Think about your life ahead, and prepare yourself for life ahead. And you are still in your 20s, no harm done. Go for it. Go for something else.
Yes.
And
Yes.
there are other services, there are other ways, there are other channels. And another thing I'd like to add is that we need to be superhuman in those 3 years. But sleep is important. Balance is important. So if you're not sleeping for 6 7 hours, then your efficiency at the time of study is very low. So don't do that. I met somebody just 3 days ago. This girl tells me, "Sir, I sleep only 3 hours." I said, "You will
Oh.
burn out. You can't. You're a
Hmm.
human being. You are not an automaton. You don't have any battery charger. You have to
Correct.
sleep. 3 hours is not enough. 6 to 7 hours sleep at least, and then you balance the rest of your day. This is how to work."
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Amazing. And one thing that I also like to know from you, suppose I cleared that IAS exam and I was about to go into that services. So what you will tell those persons, like what are the qualities when they come into system? What kind of mindset that I like about you is there also you are serving. Still now you are serving through different means as a motivational. You are serving the community. That same spirit was remain the same. Maybe you have changed your platform. Maybe you have changed the mask, but that desire to serve is still remain the same. Maybe for other person they can see in a different way, but I feel like you are still serving. That's why you are smiling. You are happy from within. So what you will say to those people, and for those people who are not able to make to that UPSC and they are already invested in that, so what emotional motivation you will give to those people? Two questions.
I think it's a very good question. And those who are ready to join the service, for them, I would say the key word is service. And I often speak about this, that Indian Police Service, Indian Administrative Service. So the key word is service. Haryana Civil Service, Punjab Civil Service. The thing is that if you have that service orientation, a young officer in any level will do very well to be service oriented and be a good people's person. Be prioritizing the person who comes to meet you, the common man. Go out of your way to give time to listen to people, to give them that respect. You will become not only popular, but you will be successful as an officer. You will have goodwill. Goodwill is the earning of life, in my view. I say it many times on my speeches, in my podcast. Goodwill is the earning of life, and you will gain that goodwill by listening to people carefully, by patiently sitting with them, trying to solve their problems as an officer. By being rude or by being arrogant, you will not gain anything. You will only gain hatred, jealousy, and people will not like you at all. So I often say in my, I have a book called Finding Success Within. And in that book I have said, respect is greater than authority. And that authority is going to come and go. That post will come and go. But the respect you gained will stay with you forever. And respect may be there with a grandmother who never was a DIG of police or anything.
Yes.
Respect than you and me.
Definitely.
So I think it is very important that we have that service orientation that will help the young officers. There are many other things, but this is the main thing. Secondly, if you have not made it, you are going back to something else. You consider your investment of time in the civil services preparation as a kind of preparation for life. And you have learned a lot of things. Knowledge has come. Systematic learning has come. Apply that wherever you go. And you will be better than many other people in your field because you are prepared for a premium, top level exam.
Amazing, sir. Wonderful. The way you were telling, service is what it really meant for. Now, I think the last question related with this thing is what I would like to ask you. Like, I was also initially very aspirant, very interested in these services. But somehow, when I will not able to make it, but God gave me a chance to see the system when I was working in private sector. So our company used to take so many projects from government. So there I used to meet assistant engineer and all, like these are like my friends. So when there comes an element of the corruption, can you tell something on that? But that thing somewhat make me disinterested from the service. Like after reading so much, studying so much, if we have to do so and such things, then what is the use of learning this, making yourself learning all those skills? So can you give anything on that? Such things still exist in the system?
Yeah. I can, because having been a civil service officer, I am hopefully mature enough to handle this question and answer it well.
Yes.
You see, what happens, human beings are of different types. But nobody's perfect.
True.
And perfect human beings don't exist because they have come to this world to learn something and improve themselves. Now, as an officer, the opportunity to do service, as we said, is immense. But some people, their mindset becomes corrupt, or they become negative, or they become selfish. And they look at what is in this for me. Now, that person could exist in any domain of life or society. But because he happens to be an officer of the government, he or she is using public funds, misusing public funds, or earning revenue by some wrong means, then it is something even more bad, because you are in a position of power, authority, and you have been appointed by the country in a way, the public appointment. So I think it is your responsibility to be honest in service, to use public funds rightly, to be above board and transparent. However, there are people who do that, yet there are people who are not doing that. When I was not in government, I was also not aware, because my father was a very upright officer and he was outstanding, everybody knew.
True.
Now, I used to see him. There were people around him who obviously were not that great, but there were people around him at that time. All of them were a little more, let us say, upright in general. We used to say that the corrupt officer, you could see out of 100 people, you might say that, okay, this one person is corrupt. Many years ago, 30 years ago, let's say 40 years ago. Now you might say that in a crowd, you can count the honest people in your fingers. However, I think it is not as bad as it seems. I have seen many outstanding people working very well. I have seen in all levels sincere people also. I have seen, let's say, corrupt people also, arrested some also. I have set right people also. But then it depends on the leadership, it depends on the officer, it depends on the government. Government has to give the right attitude. If the head of the government goes on TV every month or every 2 months and says, government officials, you better follow the rules, you better be transparent and honest, they will listen. Nobody tells them anything. After 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, nobody is giving a refresher course on ethics. It has to be done continuously. And although everybody knows, it is clear, there is no doubt about it that you have to be transparent. But motivation is required. And many people will remain honest with some kind of encouragement and motivation. And also they need some mentorship at times, because they are stuck, and young IAS, IPS or IFS officers may be unsure of what to do. And some senior people have to mentor them at times. So I think corruption is there, but it's not as much as we think. I think it can be removed with a carrot and stick kind of policy. However, I don't think that government should go overboard in creating a kind of fear psychosis among the government officials, because there is a time when people are not working also. At times they are scared to work because they feel that even if I do the right thing, somebody will get after me and I will be in trouble, and somebody will complain, or the government will be after me for political reason, whatever. So I think that fear psychosis is not good. So balance needs to be maintained. And the answer to the right approach is good leadership, political leadership, bureaucratic leadership, and that is what is needed. It is difficult, but it can improve. We can improve definitely.
Amazing, sir. And I can really understand what you are saying, because my father was also in police. He was also working as a DSP officer. So as you said, like when you are very clear in your character, when you are very clear with what you need to do, that like you are coming from that service point of view. And second thing you said very beautifully, I saw in one video of you also, like how well that one person who came to you for some work, his work was not getting done for long years, and you talk to him and let that work done. So that good thing, that good image of that person happens in that person. So amazing guidance that you gave, sir. Now coming to the second personality that you have, that is of an author. So when I look at you, there are books you authored, like Finding the Success Within, 52 Life Skills. So you are giving those books, and you said that before that, ki I write and then I speak. So writing and speaking, in the same way you gave a TED Talks also, like writing a book and reading a book also. So like, can you tell us and guide us who want to be authors, who want to write some book? Like so many people also told me, Ashish, you should write a book. But I said, I need someone to write a book. I can think, but I don't write a book. So can you guide me also and others, and take us to your journey of being an author, what it takes to be an author?
Yeah, I think everybody should write themselves, but you can have an editor to help. I know a few people, and you may also know a few people, fine people. Some professional editors are also there. They don't charge much. They will charge, but they will help you put the book together. The thoughts have to come from the author, from you, and assembling that book or constructing the book or putting it in shape may be difficult. You need guidance. That's okay. But I think I started writing short articles. So I started writing short pieces, short 2-page, 1-page, 500 words.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you remember what is the first thing that you write it? सबसे पहला आपने क्या लिखा था आपने?
I wrote in my college days. That is the first thing I wrote, was basically the glory of sports. We were talking about sports. I wrote the glory of sports when, let us say, Olympic champions, then Gary Sobers. I wrote about all these people, and Gavaskar was my hero at that time. Tendulkar had also come by that time, or he was coming, and all these things were happening. But I think you start writing short paragraphs, short pieces. Nobody can write a book on the first day. So you start writing articles, small pieces, then gradually you gain the confidence to write longer. And when you put a series of articles together, it becomes a book. If you write on, let's say, we are talking about creative thinking. Creative thinking has various facets. How you become creative, how you gain confidence, how you find your creative passion, how much time you should spend, what kind of options do you have. So let us say we have chapters like this. Then gradually you start writing one chapter at a time, and one day it becomes a book. That is how it is.
Wonderful. Yes. When we talk about your book, The Finding the Success Within, it is
Yes.
talking a lot about success where we should found either outside in the world or within. So can you take us a little more in detail? I read
Yes.
a little bit about that, how you take it into journey. So what success you are talking about? Like you have a success in your career as an IAS officer, but still there you are not satisfied, then you transform into in other aspects also. So can you little light on that?
Yeah, so in that book, I talk about the fact that success is actually inner joy, happiness. You cannot have money, power, and fame and say that I'm successful. I give the example in my speeches of Donald Trump. He's one person who never looks happy, and he may be president again. He's contesting, but he had
Yes.
power, he had money, he could have had fame, but instead of fame, we say that he's not popular across the world. So he's notorious, we can say. But the thing is that he's someone who we should not be like, and to be madly after money or power, you are going to be corrupt. You're going to be somehow kind of dacoit. So there is no way that you can be happy if you're running after these things only. When you are empathetic to society, to the poor people, when you are helping others, when you are doing your best in your career, ambitious, no doubt, but you are doing your best, then that is the way to balance your life and success. Success means that I have the happiness and joy in what I'm doing, and I'm also sharing it with others. I'm a person who is cheerful. I means anyone, and that person makes others also feel good around him or her. So success means joy. Success means giving joy, and success means that whatever I do, I'm contented with that. I am not somebody who's crazy enough to, be absolutely frustrated, or I don't have this, I don't have that, there's no end to that. So I think you have to find that joy in your journey, in your little moments, within you, and you have to work hard on yourself. And meditation, spiritual thinking also helps in that.
Yes, I want to go a little bit in that meditation and spiritual thinking. Like we are connected. I think you mentioned your favorite book is one and none other book then Autobiography of Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda.
Yes, those who have not seen it, they can see it's there. So this is the
Amazing, sir. Amazing. Thank you for that. And I want to know from you, like, how that book transformed your life. Is that the book? Because what you are talking about, I don't think like it is from like initially like you are born with that. Somewhere, some point came in your life. It's like a pinpoint which somewhere make you thought the other way around. Can you take us to that journey?
Yes, so it's a very good question. You see, let's talk about India. Most Indians are simple, fun-loving, cheerful people. Of course, if you're poor, if you're poor, you are in trouble, then that's a different matter. But most Indians are, normally they are simple people and they are good human beings, typically. You may have exceptions. People might think sab kharab hai, ye, wo hai, but it's not like that.
Yes.
Generally, you look at the housewife, you look at the clerk who is going to office with his tiffin bag, you look at the little boys, girls who are going to school, you look at the older people who are sitting by the roadside. They are good human beings overall. Now, to take life to another level, you need spirituality. Being good is all right, but Indian scriptures and the saint says a good life, good karma, largely good life could take you 1,000 incarnations to find God. Because you lived a good life, but you did not really follow any spiritual practice, it may take another 1,000 incarnations, let us presume. Now, I found this book to tell me, and my wife read it first. Again, my wife was taking the lead there. She read it, she told me about it. I was busy in my work. I started following a little bit of what she was reading. I read the whole book in 1 year, I think, because it was so long and detailed, and I was busy. I used to read 1 chapter, 2 chapters. So then I realized that there is something meaningful in this. Plus, the stresses of career also started, and I used to go and meditate a little bit, and I got the lessons of meditation, which after reading the book, most people who follow this path of Kriya Yoga set out by Paramahansa Yogananda, author of the Autobiography of a Yogi, they read the lessons of meditation. Yogda Satsang Society, YSS we follow. So we started reading the lesson and practicing the techniques. gradually now it has been about 16 years for me,
Oh,
and it has
amazing.
been about 20 years for my wife, I think.
Ah.
And in these 16 years, we became regular yogis in a way because we practiced yoga and meditation. Yoga is
Hmm.
basically, as you know much more than I do. Yoga includes the meditation path, and it is not only physical exercises. And it
True.
is basically Kriya Yoga is the path which we follow for union with God. Now, whether we are advancing that much or we are making little progress, etc., the saint who talks, some Swamijis we have, the monks we have, they tell us, you make your effort. The rest you leave
Hmm.
to the divine. There is a saying, you walk a little bit and God will start running towards you. You walk towards him only a little bit and he will run towards you. So who is making more progress? God is making more progress towards you because you are only walking a little bit. So
Yes.
God is with you in all your happy and sad moments that you do not realize until you start reading like this, practicing meditation, being grateful for what you have. Then you realize that God was there all the time. And when you start connecting with the Lord, when you start practicing your techniques of meditation and yoga or whatever you are doing, and in the daytime, in the middle of the day, in the middle of the night, you have this sense of gratefulness that thank you, God, for this. Yeah, whatever it is, you say something, you say Om or whatever you say in your mind, you are connecting with the Lord. You remember old time ladies, my Nani ji, she would go on saying something like, Hare Krishna, or
Hare
Shri
Krishna.
Krishna, or something she will say, Hey Ram, Hey Ram. So these things, or Sikh lady may say Vahe Guru, Vahe Guru.
Hmm.
It is basically connecting you with the Lord. Some people will go to Bhakti Yoga and they will go to Raj Yoga, they will go to whatever it is. So it is basically something which you have to do in your life. It is not an option. So as a practical person, I am saying this, you are a practical person. We are talking about the fact that yoga and meditation are important for all human beings. I benefited, people can benefit. One thing I benefited is at the practical level that I became a calmer person, able to handle the troubles of life much better. Deeper level is oneness with God. The more you meditate, the more you realize you are not the body, you are the soul. And that
Amazing.
realization may not be complete, but gradually you start progressing. People say that it happens in one day, but it doesn't happen in one day. When you,
Same
when
here.
you start experiencing the joy within, then you are imbibing the qualities of God. And Paramahansa Yoganand in this book, his guru tells him when he's a young boy, Paramahansa Yoganand ji goes to him as a young boy, he was about maybe 14 years old, 13. He says, Guruji, I can't see God. He says,
Hmm.
what do you think? God is some sitting in some throne in the antiseptic corner of the universe waiting for
Hmm.
you?
Hmm.
No. He says, God is within you. You have found him already. And he gives him the divine experience. And then Paramahansa Yoganand realizes that Samadhi experience, and it's a wonderful story.
Amazing, Vivek ji. And what I feel, I think I'm connected to you because this is the same thing. The next question was in my mind. Can you tell me a little more about that God? And suddenly you did it that way. So that's the
Thank you.
beauty and amazing thing. I wanted to know, as you already said, God is not something because somewhere, as a human being, we think God is something like human being like us to us. Yes, like in somewhere when we meditate, then we taste something, it's like an inner experience. Like somewhere when
Absolutely.
I get some, yes. So can you take a little bit more deeper because like you are telling me 20 years your wife is doing that meditation, 16 years you are doing. So initially when I started, it was a very painful experience for me because all the memories and all things were came to my mind. But suddenly as I move on, now it's something like I'm okay with it, I'm balanced with it, find the joy. So initially, how was the thing? Like, is it the same for you? How, if you look yourself when you started and now, what are the changes that you felt? One thing I think you tell the calmness that you were feeling.
Yes.
Anything other than that?
Yes, I think a few other changes, calmness definitely. And I used to not be a very angry person, but sometimes you lose your temper. I was a Scorpio by birth, but now I don't
Yes.
find that I lose my temper at all. It's
Hmm.
very difficult to get me to lose my cool. And it may be months before I say something loudly to someone. So I find that is the biggest benefit. Thirdly, you start understanding life a little better. Some problem may have occurred in life. You start not accepting it, but you start realizing that this is a test for me. How do I handle it? So the story that I will tell you to highlight this point is that the story is one person goes to heaven. Let us presume there is a heaven and he goes there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there is a saint over there waiting for him, and he says, "Hello, you have come after a life now. How was your life on the earth?" He says, "It was very good, but this one neighbor of mine, he kept troubling." So he says, why are you talking about the neighbor? Tell me about your own experience." He says, "No, it was a good experience, this, that, but this neighbor was very bad too."
Hmm.
So now this saint says to him, "We are not interested in your neighbor. We are interested in your response to the neighbor's action.
Yes.
How do you handle it? What is your story? You are the hero of your story. You talk about yourself. When
Hmm.
that neighbor comes to us later, we will ask him, why did you trouble him?" Right? So we are the hero of our own story. All the tests and trials are there to test us, and they are maybe the result of a karmic influence. Nobody is perfect. We have come here to improve. One of our monks in YSS says, ये स्कूल है और स्कूल से पास होके ही निकलना होता है, फेल होके नहीं निकल सकते। तो अगर
Yes,
आपने स्कूल
definitely.
में बार बार आना पड़ेगा आपको, जब तक आप पास होके नहीं निकलोगे। तो पास होके कैसे निकलते हैं? When you realize God within, and when you realize, and the other thing that Paramahansa Yoganand says in this book, and scriptures also say, when you connect with the divine, he wipes out your karma also. Because you
Hmm.
cannot work out all your karma of the past lives in one life. But if you connect with the Lord, He sees your effort, He sees your keenness, He sees your sincerity, and He wipes out, He forgives. He is the mother, father, divine. So ये सब concepts हैं हमारे scriptures में ही। कई बार हम उसको complicate करते हैं। ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है, वो भी पढ़ना है, वो भी करना है, वो भी करना है। पढ़ाई ज़्यादा ना करें, practice करें। That is my real learning.
अमेजिंग। और इसी से मुझे याद आया, स्वामी जी ये भी कहते हैं, इट नॉट जस्ट दैट, कहते हैं ना कि प्रैक्टिस मेक्स अ मैन परफेक्ट, तो ही एड्स परफेक्ट प्रैक्टिस मेक्स अ मैन परफेक्ट। इट्स नॉट
Absolutely.
जस्ट सिंपल प्रैक्टिस, बट दैट प्रैक्टिce should also be properly aligned and properly targeted.
Yeah, I
So
think we are
coming
really coming to the best. This was a really best part of this conversation.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
last final point that I want to know from you, like we talk about all the good points, the challenges that we felt. Any challenges that you felt like you learned early in your life, like the changes that you need to make, and some changes still that you want to upgrade yourself in future, like still you are working on those. Anything you can enlighten us to that, because that is something which is going to guide us. Because
Yeah,
everyone, like as you said, is not perfect. Like I'm also
yeah,
working on so many things. So anything on that?
yeah. I think for youngsters, I would say one of the things I learned early in life, but I could not apply it very quickly. Now I am able to. Is that do not worry too much about what others think. You see,
Yes.
parents and family are important. Closest friend is important.
Hmm.
What auntie ji thinks or masi ji thinks or somebody or down the road some neighbor or somebody or even some distant person or colleague says something about you, don't take it to heart. Don't be too affected by those things. People will talk, people will say, you are playing cricket, you are sincere. Somebody will say padta padta nahi hai, khilta rehta hai, but you are a sincere sportsman, you go for it. Study also and play also. If you feel that you didn't do well in your sport or your work or your life and you failed at times, people are talking about it, what will they think? ये नहीं सोचना. So don't get into
Hmm.
what people think. Overthinking about what people think should be avoided. That is one. Now in this stage of life, I'm still learning certain other things. I am learning also to uh, calm myself down to the extent that I am absolutely joyful within. So if I am involved in little things, ये टिकट आया कि नहीं आया, वो फ्लाइट का टाइम हो गया है, या वो
Yes.
ये हो गया, ब्रेकफास्ट जल्दी मतलब जल्दी, तो ये तो चलता रहेगा. So I
Yes.
really have to raise the level of my consciousness and find that joy, be joyful. I have seen monks, when they have to catch a train, they are not restless. And recently we were seeing off one monk and there was some confusion in the platform. इस पे आएगी, उस पे आएगी. But announcement was not clear at the railway station. There were a lot of people. And that monk said to somebody, he says, what does it matter? He says, ठीक है, train आएगी, नहीं आएगी, miss हो गई, एक दिन और रह लेंगे, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. We'll go tomorrow. So basically, maybe all of us cannot afford that luxury, but that calmness, that peacefulness is something we all need to possess.
And I think you said the secret for that is meditation, I think.
Meditation twice a day at least, and connecting with the Lord. Physical, mental, spiritual fitness is very important. Read the scriptures,
Let's
but apply
yes.
them more. Apply them more in your life.
Let's take one more practical question. If suppose there is someone who doesn't heard any word of meditation, doesn't know anything about it, And you as a mentor, you as a meditator yourself, what advice, what practical technique you can tell that person to simply meditate, how to meditate?
Yeah, first I will tell that technique, but firstly, let me say that don't wait for retirement. Don't wait for being 40 years old or something.
Yes.
Start even at the age of 15, you should start meditating a little. Because I have found that it is useful to us throughout our lives. I have seen young children meditating today and they are better off. Secondly, the preliminary kind of techniques which we follow, I can share one of them, is basically trying to sit straight and observe your breath and just try to still the mind to concentrate on the breath and with the consciousness of God within you. So God should be there in meditation. Meditation is concentration on God. But when you are, let's say you pray, you have the divine experience, you are praying to the divine, you are sitting watching your breath or noticing your breath, you start feeling peaceful in a while, your heart rate goes down, your pulse rate becomes very calm, your breath rate goes down, your thoughts may still be coming, but they will go down gradually. So even sitting, noticing your breath coming and not controlling it is a good technique to start. Later, you can practice more techniques. I follow yssofindia.org, which is a site, and they have given a lot of techniques of meditation. A lot of means 3 or 4 techniques, which followed one by one. But also you have to be physically fit in order to meditate. And sit with the spine straight, have a straight posture, and all these things will happen.
Amazing, sir. Amazing. One thing that I asked you earlier also, Vivek ji, one thing like you are doing these works a lot, a number of times. I think as we do the conversation, I think you earlier also did the same way. But now what is motivating you to do it again and again? How you remove the monotony? How you keep the newness in whatever you are doing? How?
It's a very good question. I keep challenging myself. I tell teachers and educators I speak to them, change your stories in your teaching, change your examples, refresh your own. Of course, in chemistry or geography, you can't change the examples. but
Yes.
in English literature, history, also sometimes storytelling. So have some storytelling within you. In my talks, I always change the pattern. Sometimes I bring in one story, sometimes another story. Sometimes I start with spirituality, bring it somewhere else, and sometimes I bring it later. Plus, the motivation is that maybe, let us say, 0.1% of India's youth have heard me till today. Let us say, presume. If I keep on speaking in various places, another 10 times may hear. So we go to 1% of India. If I can reach 1% of India's youth, my job is done. Another 99%, many other speakers are there, other people are there. I need to reach them once, and then I can't do more. So my motivation is that the same message should go to as many youngsters as possible.
Wonderful. And if coming to the motivational part, as you are a motivational speaker, you have, I think, 8 TED Talks and 3 Josh Talks. So what is the secret of your motivation? Like you are giving motivation to all of us. Like there is a bank which takes money from all of us and give it to others. So from where you are drawing it and unendingly, you are giving it without any end. So what is the secret?
I think my family is also very positive family, cheerful people. And this is my job in a way. But then to do that job well, you have to be motivated from within as a motivational speaker. So I think I find that blessing from above, that I have that attitude. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm always cheerful. Even if setback is there, I'm cheerful. I try to be. And it is self-propelled. So I like traveling, I like speaking, I like more interactions. And now your podcast will be watched by a certain number of people who may not have seen any other of my podcast because your circle is different or whatever it is. So having talked with you, there's somebody will benefit. Tomorrow is another day with somebody else. So that's how it works. So it's been a lovely conversation. Thank you for all this.
Deep. Amazing, sir. And lastly, I think 3 is a very spiritual number. And whoever comes, I play a game of 3 with them. So I play with you also the game of 3. It's very simple and it's very magical. So I will ask you any 3 books you want to refer to your audience to guide them spiritually, materially, or in other ways of success. Any 3 books you want to refer?
Yeah. I already talked about Autobiography of a Yogi, so I won't talk about that. One book I would recommend to you is Atomic Habits by James Clear. He's a very good book on how you can change your habits little by little, gradually. Number two, I would recommend to you Thich Nhat Hanh, Buddhist thinker.
Oh,
He talks
yeah.
about mindfulness. He talks about how to walk, how to sit, how to eat. Simple books, little booklets, and they are so good that they give you the focus on what you're doing at the present moment, how you conduct your life in a way. Beautiful books. Number three, I would say read some humor, some comedy, some light-hearted books. Even Twinkle Khanna you read because she writes well and she's funny.
Yes.
Funny.
Hmm.
I'm not, personally speaking, very frankly, I've not read the books, but I know that she writes well. And I read P.G.
Hmm.
Woodhouse. P.G. Woodhouse is a great English writer who writes humor. Even yesterday, I picked up a book and I've been reading it. So I think it is important to read these kinds of books.
Yeah. Any tip on like you would suggest any way like how to read a book effectively? Like people read book like they read somewhat and left it, somewhat they read it half and then leave it. Any way like to get complete out of that essence of that book? Any method you
Yeah,
will suggest?
yeah. You can sometimes you can do selective reading because you don't have time in life, so you can go through the chapters and see which ones you want to read. But also, I think you can have a schedule that this half an hour a day or 45 minutes a day I will read, or on a Sunday 2 hours I will read. That schedule will help you to read. So I think it's been a good conversation.
Yes, and last thing is any three people you would like to suggest me? Like, if you, I hope you have enjoyed this conversation, the deep depth of this conversation, the healing that others got through your words. So, any three people you take the inspiration from those people in your life, you would suggest, like, I can maybe call them on this podcast, or any three-person you can suggest, which you take
Yeah, yeah.
inspiration from?
One is Hardeep Chandpuri, who is the son of Brigadier Chandpuri, famous for the border picture. Sunny Deol played his father's role. Hardeep Chandpuri is a very inspiring person. He's a radio jockey,
Amazing.
a publisher, and he's a very cheerful, positive person. Second is Colonel D.S. Chima. He is also a wonderful person. He's spiritually minded. He has written 20 books, more than 20 books
Oh, amazing.
on leadership, on spirituality,
Great.
on the Sikhism, etc., etc. Number three, I would say you can talk to one of our ladies who is part of our think tank. Her name is Mrs. Neena Singh, and she is a lady who has done a lot of work for social sector after resigning from a banking career. So all our leadership people, I'll connect you to all of them.
Amazing, amazing. I think that's the way you are drawing all these, making a community like that. You tell like you explore so many places. I think last when I talked to you, you were in Uti for your some work. So any places like which make that spirituality or that exploration way, any three places you will suggest if anyone want to visit, explore? I
I
think
think
which motivated you?
I think Ranchi is one of them. Ranchi is where YSS was started by Paramahansa Yoganand. Ranchi has the ashram of YSS, which is the most peaceful ashram I've ever seen. Beautiful. Secondly, I would say you must go to Bodh Gaya, so Gautam Buddha's uh,
Amazing.
iconic place, and if you can go, it is absolutely beautiful. And thirdly, I would say visit the Golden Temple and Golden Temple of Sikhism, and it is beautiful, beautiful. Visit. Ultimately, the temple of life is within.
So let me just tell the last few words. So thanks a lot, sir, for joining today. And let me just give a little bit last summary. Like you took us to your journey of how you transform from being a cricketer to an IAS officer, and then to an author to motivator. And you took us to the various aspects of UPSC aspirants, how to get out of if you are like in the down session, you are having the downtime period, then how you can keep yourself motivated. You led us to the journey of your being an author, how you wrote this books like Finding the Success Within. And the important part of this podcast is that you take us to your spiritual journey, that is with autobiography of Yogi with Paramahansa Yogananda ji. And he also showed me a way. That's why I am doing all these things as you are doing. And finally, you took us in this journey of the game of three. So I hope you like this session and this beautiful podcast. Any last words you would like to convey to the audience, and any advice you have for me? And I hope you have enjoyed this session.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a great session, good questions, and fantastic conversation. I think basically cheerfulness is the mantra. We should be cheerful people. We should not be, जैसे मैं talks में भी बोलता हूँ, youngsters हंसते हैं, रोंदू type नहीं बनने की जरूरत है, दुखी आत्मा नहीं बनने की. Stay cheerful,
Yes.
positive, and spread that vibe. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot for joining today. And you can check out this podcast on this our YouTube channel and also on the Spotify. Thanks a lot for joining, giving your time. Thanks a lot.
Podcast, A Way to Bliss, is hosted by Ashish, who has a deep desire to connect with people, to converse with people on their journey of yoga in search of bliss and their life transforming stories which can heal your body, mind, and soul. If you find these conversations insightful, please share with your close ones to heal their mind.